Item 5, which is authorizing an investigation. The board recently learned that legal counsel was engaged to challenge an Office of Retirement Services determination on behalf of certain district administrators, possibly at district expense. I move that the board authorize Troon Law Firm to investigate the propriety of this legal engagement and whether public funds spent on this matter, if any, were used in a manner consistent with law and board policy. Troon Law Firm is authorized to engage outside agents and experts to assist with the investigation. Troon is directed to provide notice to the board if the total investigation costs would exceed $25,000. I'm moving this. Is there support for this? Mrs. Bull. Discussion.
I move to substitute this motion with a different motion.
Okay.
I move that our board directs administration to issue an RFP for an independent CPA firm to conduct an external audit of all financial controls, including conflict of interest. This would include full disclosure of the chart of approval for expense types, including procurement of service contracts. This audit is not to be confused with the internal control over financial reporting audit that is part of RCS's annual audit required by state law.
Okay, can you pass that to me, please?
I will have to, I was typing this on my phone. It's right here.
Okay, so we have, is there a second? Mr. Weaver. So on the floor we have the motion. Is there any discussion on this? Mrs. Alsbach?
I would just wonder, there's no fiscal constraint on this. Since we are concerned about spending money wisely, I want all the money we have to be spent on teaching and learning, and I'm very interested in hearing about the literacy discussion we're going to get to later. This does not have any type of financial limit on it, or so that would concern me.
So,
Mr. Weaver?
it's to issue an RFP, so we would be getting bids. We would then have to approve them based on the bids. So that would come into play there. The other part in supporting this is why we need to do the full internal investigation is the claims that came to us date back to 2016. So there's more than just that little part. And to be honest, we need an independent CPA firm. We don't need another law firm that has been handling already issues and already giving legal opinions where, again, they have a vested interest in the legal advice they've already given to be proven to be true and accurate. So again, this is why this needs to be an independent CPA firm that will do a true audit and be able to provide all the facts to us. So those, again, in the true spirit of an investigation is those that could be, this is going to wrap up and have a lot of people involved in it. Those that have been involved that have done nothing wrong deserve that as well. They don't have, we should not be muddying people's names based on this. But again, as it's come to light, we have not been approving invoices properly. We have not been paying attention to legal fees.
Okay, that's not germane to this. We are talking specifically about ORS.
This investigation covers unauthorized legal expenses.
So
yes,
we are,
so it stems from this one incident, but we need to know if it goes farther than that, and we need to clear people's names if they were not involved in wrongdoing. And the only way to do that is with a truly independent investigation of all the facts.
well, I would say that the issue we're looking into is specifically the ORS, and that to go outside of that and to expand this search for hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this does not seem worthy at this time.
Where are you getting the hundreds of thousands of dollars?
The estimate I heard was to do
Who gave you that estimate?
That was through our law firm.
Which law firm?
Mrs. Annis.
Thank you. I will be supporting the original motion, which does entail language that says the law firm is authorized to engage outside agents and experts to assist with the investigation. I don't think it's much of a stretch to assume that a law firm would look to also engaging a CPA firm or any other organizations or entities that will help them find out what the true crux of the problem is.
All right.
I'll
So
ta-
we have the motion on the floor.
My second comment on that would be, again, this again is outsourcing our responsibility of the RFP and approving which independent CPA firm it is and giving that responsibility to a law firm that, again, was not elected to represent or make those decisions. And again, our community has no idea who they're selecting. So again, I would challenge this board to accept our responsibility to make these decisions, which again is to have the RFP done, get the bids, and make a decision on who will be doing an independent investigation, as we are all aware of unapproved legal expenses that can date back to 2016, and we know that there is many invoices now that would be in question of whether they were approved properly or not. We have fiducial responsibility to ensure that we do not have other improprieties, and we need to clear people's names, as again, we clearly have an issue here of invoices being approved that were not fully vetted.
Mrs. Bull?
I just wanted to state for the record, I have full support of full faith in our internal controls process and our accounting and finance team, and I'm not in favor of this substitution.
Okay, so we have the substitute motion on the amendment to substitute on, we have a motion to substitute on the floor. All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
That's a 2-5 vote. The substitution does not pass. At this point, I would like to call the previous question, which is the motion to authorize the investigation. Is there support for that? Mrs. Annis, all of those in favor of,
Can I make one clarifying point?
actually, once the,
Okay.
once we've made a call for the prior
Sure.
question, there's no other
Okay.
comments. So the motion is that the board authorizes Troon Law Firm to investigate the propriety of this legal engagement and whether public funds spent on this matter, if any, were used in a manner consistent with law and board policy. Troon Law Firm is authorized to engage outside agents and experts to assist with the investigation. Troon is directed to provide notice to the board if the total investigation cost will exceed $25,000. All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
I'm sorry, Carol Beth, I didn't see what you did. That's a 6-1 vote. The motion passes.